This video answers the question, what type of music is the best to start with? Well, what you need is one of these, a mirror. And the reason you need one of these is pick the music you are thinking of playing and look in the mirror. If you are going like, then it's not the right kind of music. If you're going, then it is. So, okay, that's a little bit silly, but underlying that, there's an important principle is when you imagine yourself playing that particular piece of music, if it doesn't put a smile on your face, then it probably isn't music that you love. So find music that you love. It doesn't matter what the style, it can be anything, but especially if you have a favorite song that means a lot to you, or a favorite artist, or a favorite piece of classical music, whatever it is, that's a good place to start. Now, there's a few other criteria as well. Choose something that is within your current capabilities. So, obviously, when you're starting off, if you pick something that is too complicated, then that is going to be a big learning curve, a big leap, and the risk is that you might get frustrated along that path. So the ideal is pick something which is what I call standard. So I've done other videos on standard notes and chords, but a quick summary is that the vast majority of popular music uses just the 7 standard melody notes. So the melody is the tune that somebody would sing. So the standard notes are what we know as the scale, like, and then it starts again. So just those 7 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the vast majority of songs only use those 7, and they only use the 6 standard chords, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as crazy as it seems, like thousands and thousands and thousands of the most famous songs only pick from those 6 chords, and quite often they only might use only 4 of the 6. So once you know that, then you can play to a really professional, highly complicated style, but it's much easier than it seems. So most songs are like that, they're straightforward. Some ones that, there's a small percentage of songs that are more complicated. So in the sort of pop music world, people like Stevie Wonder, he tends to do more complicated sort of chords that are outside the standard chords. Some songs transpose into different keys, which I won't go into that right now, but things like Toto's Africa, Bohemian Rhapsody, those kind of songs, when you're starting off, that's another level of complexity that you probably are best leaving off until you've got the basics nailed first of all. Some of the songs have got a very complicated instrumental part, which is key to the song. So again, most don't have this, but there are ones like My Baby Just Cares For Me. Those kind of songs, again, they're probably best left off until you've got the basics nailed. But most songs then are very standard, and just pick one that you love. It's also important to pick songs that are aligned with your ultimate goal. So you might be saying, well, what's an ultimate goal got to do with playing piano? Well, what I mean is you are likely to make far quicker progress if you have a clear direction in where you're trying to go. So many people want to play piano and they just think, well, that's my goal, is playing piano. But there are lots of different ways of playing piano, and there are several different approaches which are far more effective for the different objectives. So if you don't know what the objective is, then you might be picking a tuition method that is a long way around. So you might get there eventually, but you're wasting a lot of time and effort. So examples of the different teaching methods or the different styles of playing one of the most common that most people think of would be the instrumental way of playing. So that's where you are playing piano and nobody else is playing other instruments or singing. So you have to play both the melody, that is the part that somebody would sing, as well as the accompaniment, which is the backing. So that would sound like. That kind of way, where you're playing the tune. That's as opposed to sing-along style, which is where you play the accompaniment. So that would be the backing underneath where somebody else would sing the tune. So you don't need to play the tune, you just play accompaniment. Like that. Now, the reason that I explain the distinction between the two is if you want to play in a band, for example, or play with a singer, or if you want to sing along yourself, or you want to play at parties for other people to sing, then there's much faster way to get right through from a beginner through to the full professional way of playing by just focusing on the accompaniment side without trying to play the melody. So I've explained more of this in the other videos, which piano tuition method is best for me. If you haven't seen that, if you go to DecPlay.com and join the email list there, everybody on the email list gets sent those really detailed videos that explain far more about that. A third style of playing is the exact notes style, and that's where you have to play exact notes. So that would be things like The Entertainer would be an example of that, where that type of thing, or classical music such as Beethoven's Fur Elise. That type of thing. Again, there's a different teaching method that is more effective if you have to play exactly those notes. That would also be things like Einaudi and that type of style. So those are the three main styles. Now there's other styles of playing as well, such as like rock and roll, which again, there's a fast route straight into that. That's like a... that kind of style. So just be clear on what you're trying to achieve before you start, and you'll get there a lot quicker. So bearing all that in mind, if you're saying, yeah, but just give me some examples. Well, what I often recommend is start with Amazing Grace or Happy Birthday are two of the most famous songs, very simple melodies. They use the standard melody notes and standard chords. The rhythm is really simple. So those are brilliant ones to start off with. And then just go on to pick one of your all-time favorite songs and move on from there. If you want to play classical style, then things like Fur Elise that I just showed a bit earlier is a great one to start off with. The first section of that is very attainable. It does get a bit more complex in the second section, but the first section stands alone by itself, and that's great to learn that. Also Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. That type of style. That's a great one to learn as well. So I hope that's given you some more insight as to the type of music that is great to learn. But don't forget the visual image of just think, is this music putting a smile on my face or not?